So I recorded this episode yesterday and it ended up being really long, but I left it how it was because I kind of felt like it was important that you get every little detail, because you know that if you have perioral dermatitis, it can be all the little things that add up, and every part of the story is important to what's going on inside your body and why you might have it. So if you relate to anything that you hear in this video, please drop it below in the comments. I would love to hear your experience. I would love to support you in your healing journey, and listen to this episode kind of like it's a podcast. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. So I just wanted to hop on here and talk a little bit about my journey with perioral dermatitis, which is formerly known as periorificial dermatitis. So those are the same thing, recognized as the same thing, but they changed the name recently to perioral dermatitis. I first discovered that I had it, I want to say in November of 2019. I started to get a patch of like bright red right here, and I'll try to find a picture of it. I didn't really take a lot of pictures of my face when I had a big flare-up because I was embarrassed and I didn't like how it looked for obvious reasons. And so I actually don't have a lot of pictures of my face unless there's like a big filter on it or something, it's sad. So I discovered that I had it about a year ago, and you might be able to tell from the shadowing of this video. I'm not wearing any makeup right now. There's no filter on this video, but you might still be able to see a little red patch right there. But it has, for the most part, gone away. And I'm going to tell you everything that I've gone through, what I did, and just my experience going through this process. So I got this red patch on my face, and at first I thought it was just dry skin, because if you have it, you'll notice that it's probably flaky, and these little like pustules, I think they're called, these little white dots will come up, and then one day it'll be flaky. And so I just thought, oh, it's just dry skin. I wasn't even living in a dry climate at the time. I was living in Portland, Oregon. And so, I don't know, I was just moisturizing and trying to do everything that I could to keep it under control. But it just continued to be bright red, and it seemed like some days it would be worse, and sometimes it would get better. And so I was just so confused about what was happening. So I went to the dermatologist, and she said, oh yeah, you have perioral dermatitis. And so I told her, can you spell that out for me? I want to write it down, because I'm the type of person, I like to research everything. I'm a Gemini, so if you know about astrology, then enough said, And so I wanted to go home and research it, because she wanted to prescribe me a steroid cream. And I'm a little bit more on the naturopathic side of things, and so I just wanted to do all my research before I just went with this steroid cream that she wanted to prescribe me. And so when I got home and looked at perioral dermatitis, it seems like there's no known information based on studies on where this comes from. It seems like it's a skin condition that has shown up amongst women as young as 25, I think ending around age 45. I might be wrong. It's been a long time since I've looked at the statistics. Within the last 10 to 15 years, it's been this thing that has shown up. And a lot of the people said that when they went on the steroid cream, it actually made their thing worse. And so I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't want this to get worse. That sounds awful. And it said that one of the known symptoms, one of the only known, or I should say known causes of perioral dermatitis were steroids. And whether that was taking steroids orally or putting on your face, I wasn't sure, but it just didn't seem like that made sense to do that. So I opted out of doing that, and I just did other research on like what it could be. I found that sodium lauryl sulfates in skincare products, in shampoos, in toothpaste is another known cause of a perioral dermatitis flare-up. So I'm already pretty like natural and whatever, so I looked at all my products and none of my products had that in it. So I said, okay, then it's not because of that. naturopathic philosophy, I'm not a naturopath, I'm just passionate about it, is a lot about what's happening inside our body and things that are happening in our environment, like stress and anxiety can cause these sorts of things. And at the time I was experiencing some depression and some anxiety. I just didn't have a lot going on. It was a dark winter in Portland. And so I was like, it's probably just a manifestation of this like depression I'm experiencing, and kind of like it is what it is. And I continued to do like what I thought was best, eat healthy, do my normal skincare routine that just had like natural oils and lotions and all of that. And it just continued to stay. And I've seen pictures of people who have it where it gets all over their face, and I feel so much for those people. I was lucky enough to not really have it like that. Like I just had at first this small patch, and for me, that was manageable for me. I wasn't really like seeing a lot of friends at the time, and if I did feel like I needed to put makeup on it or whatever, I just would. And I was like, whatever, it's not a big deal. Hopefully my body will just take care of it and it'll go away. Well, eventually I started getting it underneath my eyes. I started getting these little dots underneath my eyes, and then I started to get another patch along the left side of my face. And I was like, gosh darn it. What is this thing? And it is bothering me. So I ended up doing some more research, and I was in Los Angeles at the time visiting. And I ended up finding that, actually, I think how I found out was because I was watching like a Keeping Up with the Kardashians episode, which is embarrassing, but yes, I love that show. I love the Kardashians. Don't come for me. I love the Kardashians. And one of them, I can't remember, or it's Kim, she has psoriasis. And so she went to this Chinese medicine dermatologist in the Los Angeles area, Pacific Palisades to be specific. And so I ended up going to that person's website, or it was either that or I had gone to their website first and found out that she had worked with the Kardashians, whatever it was. I found her website, and she had all this stuff to say about perioral dermatitis. And at that point as well, I had been in contact with my naturopathic doctor who was in Portland, and she had prescribed me sea buckthorn. You can actually take sea buckthorn is a really popular topical right now, but you can actually take sea buckthorn internally. And she said that she had had clients that had really awful eczema take sea buckthorn and have it be extremely successful for them for getting rid of their eczema, like the only thing that worked. But I had been taking that, it didn't work. I was supplementing zinc, iron, I'm iron deficient, like I was doing all the things. Nothing was working. So I decided to reach out to an actual dermatologist instead of my naturopathic doctor. And there are Eastern medicine dermatologists, there are naturopathic dermatologists, which I had never seen before. The one that I saw that actually diagnosed my issue was a Western medicine traditional dermatologist. So I went to this Chinese medicine dermatologist, and I loved it. It was an hour-long consultation. She asked me things about my first period, like my emotions that I was going through when I got my first period, just like, that's what I love about Eastern medicine and naturopathic medicine, is that they get the whole picture. They're not just putting a Band-Aid on your issue. They want to treat you from the inside and from years past and from habits that have developed over time. And I love that. And so I was feeling really confident about what she had to say. So, of course, my health insurance doesn't cover it, so I was paying out of pocket, and it was expensive. And I will say, if you have the money, I think it's worth it. So the treatment was a 9-week treatment, and what she does is she custom mixes these Chinese herbal teas for you. You take them in the morning and the evening. They taste awful, but you just do it. You get used to it. And I ended up doing it for 6 weeks, but I couldn't afford to do the last 3 weeks because we're like mid-pandemic. I'm a performing artist, and I was like, I don't have a job, so I can't afford this right now. My unemployment hadn't kicked in yet. So it was just a fiasco. And you really are supposed to do the whole 9 weeks for it to actually like come through in your skin. I believed in it, but I couldn't finish it. So my skin had started to get a little bit better, but then it kind of just plateaued. And over the summer, I changed environments a lot last year. When I noticed my perioral dermatitis, I was living in Portland, and I was living in, if you know Portland, Oregon, it's wet there. It rains all the time. A lot of the houses are extremely old and known to have mold. I still wonder to this day if there was a mold issue happening, and that's why my perioral dermatitis came. You can, I haven't done it, but I know that some of my friends have. You can get tested for mold inside your system. So if you think that you might be living in an old house that's soggy, it's humid in the environment that you live, I would recommend getting tested for mold inside. Anyways, so this summer I moved out of Portland in about April. I moved down to near Joshua Tree, California. It's a complete opposite environment. It is very hot. It got up to like 115 degrees in the hottest time of the summer. And, it only gets down to be like 80 degrees in the middle of the night. And it was dry. And so I thought maybe, because I'm a total sun worshiper, that spending time in the sun would help my skin. And it did sometimes, but it didn't. If you have this dermatitis, you know that one day it'll be gone. And you're like, thank God. And then the next day, it's like 10 times worse than it has been. And that can even be hour to hour. 1 hour of the morning, you wake up and you're like, oh, that doesn't look too bad. An hour later, you're like, oh my God, what happened? Like, what did I do? I just drank some tea, and all of a sudden it's flaring up. And then 2 hours later, it'll be back down again. It's like such an interesting skin condition. So some days I felt like the sun helped, and some days I didn't. Another thing about my whole last year in healing this is I have worn little to no makeup. When the pandemic hit, being a performing artist, I used to wear makeup all the time. And I do try to wear like the natural, who knows how natural it is, but like the mineral-based makeup and all that. But yeah, I've worn makeup maybe a few times in the last year, and not sure if that helped, but there's just another piece of the puzzle. So yeah, recently though, it's been pretty much gone. Like, you might be able to see a little bit, that's it, in the shadow of this screen. But recently it's kind of gone away. And I will say that I incorporated this oil called Tamanu Oil into my life. Tamanu Oil, after using it consistently on my face morning and night for about a month, my issue, I would say, is almost completely gone, which I was kind of surprised by, that it was that's just what it took. Also, it has been over a year now. It's been about 14 months, and a part of me wonders, was it just my body has just rid of whatever it was that was causing it? And I think time can heal as well, maybe. The last thing, the most important thing that I think you could do if you're kind of just at your wit's end with this, get a naturopathic doctor. Wherever you live, there's going to be one. If your health insurance should cover it, because health insurance should have a part where it talks about specialty doctors. And personally, my naturopath cannot be my primary care physician, but it falls under the specialty doctor category, which my copay for specialty doctors is like $20. So every time I go see her, and I do treat her like my primary care, it only costs me $20. So it's not bad. And go see someone like that, because the experience that you will have with a naturopath versus a Western medicine doctor is just out of this world if you've never had that before. the preventative medicine, I think, is so valuable. And yes, you might have to change your lifestyle. No, it will not work if you don't make certain lifestyle changes. So you really have to be willing to make those changes. And one thing that I did with her after having this issue is I have a friend that got a gut test from a third-party company called Genova Diagnostics. I will link their work below. They're based out of Asheville, North Carolina. They're amazing. All of their products are amazing. And there are many different gut tests you can get. Your Western medicine doctor does do this, but they don't test you for the range of things that Genova does. They will test you for maybe like 3 parasites. There are hundreds of parasites that exist on this planet. And I realized 5 years ago I traveled to India and I came back with awful stomach issues. Like, not even gonna say the words, but you can imagine. Coming out the back end. And I was sure that I had a parasite. I got tested from my Western medicine doctor. Nothing came back. 5 years later now, I decided, you know what, I should do a more comprehensive gut test. So when you do it, you can do it and pay for it on your own, but you have to have somebody that reads you the results. So I asked my naturopathic doctor, are you familiar with Genova Diagnostics? Could you read this for me? And she said yes. And she actually ordered it through her office. And she ordered it through her office and then got the results sent directly to her. When she read them, I guess it did find that, excuse me, I'm talking so much, my voice is starting to go. It did find that there were the like antibodies for parasite, and if you don't know, a gut test, yes, you send your poop in the mail. You do. You poop into a cup. You have to pick it up with this little spoon that they provide and put it in a little test tube, swirl it around. It's vile. It is disgusting, but it tells you things about you that you would never know. So it's worth it. And you have to do it like 4 times or something. And then you take it to the mailbox and send it in the mail. I'm not kidding. But do it for your health. Do it for your health. So yeah, she said that there's a potential that you have parasites. And, you know, also she said you're likely to have some sort of parasite that might be foreign to your body if you grew up on city tap water and now you're on a well. And if you live in the city and don't know what a well is, that means you live out on a property and your water source is literally someone tapped a well onto your property, and that's how you get all your water. And right now, currently, I live out of the city on a piece of property and I drink well water. So, you know, there could be stuff in there that my body isn't used to. I don't have awful digestion anymore after my India trip, so I just kind of assumed either my body took care of it or my body's used to it. People who live in India also have those parasites, but they grew up with them, so their bodies are used to them. So she said there's a possibility that your body has just adapted to whatever's going on. So to end this, she put me on a parasite cleanse, and even though my skin has appeared to be better, I'm still doing it, and I actually just started last night. So I'm going to tell you what it is. And she prescribed to me, it's called Omphalia 11 by 7 Forests. It's hard to find online, but I got it from this website. I think it's called like Acupuncture Atlanta, and they sell a bunch of different healthcare products. And this is all stuff you can just order on your own, so this is why I feel comfortable just saying it. It's an over-the-counter, well, over-the-online counter product. Always check in with a naturopath before you start something like this, please. So what and it says this, suggested use on the back. So what she prescribed me to do is to take 3 tablets 3 times a day for 21 days. And so morning, lunch, and dinner. Morning, evening, afternoon. Wait, morning, afternoon, evening. Along with that, I take my N-acetylcysteine. This is something she's put me on before. It's overall immune system function. And so I had never heard of this before I started going to her, but now that I have, I see it everywhere. I have friends that I know that take it, and I'm like, why didn't I know about this? She's told me that you can just take one of these a day ongoing for your life, but for this parasite cleanse, I'm taking 2 in the morning and 2 at night. Along with that, she prescribed me a prescription strength probiotic. Now, you can also order these off of Amazon, so even though she prescribed it to me, I know you can get them. I'm actually going to go grab that bottle really quick. This is what it is. It's called Lacto Prime Plus by Claire Labs with a Klaire. And I take one of these in the morning and 1 at night. Now, this isn't necessarily because of the parasites, but apparently my probiotic count was low according to this gut test. So they test you for that. But I just think, why not take a probiotic? I think everybody should be taking these if you don't feel like you're getting enough like sauerkraut and probiotic raw food in your diet. The last thing that I'm gonna recommend, which I don't actually have on me, but it's called Mag07, Magnesium 07. And it's a product that my friend recommended to me. You can also get over the counter. She did a parasite cleanse and then finished the parasite cleanse with the Mag07. I think she did it for like 7 days, but she noticed after 2 days her issue was gone. And I tried Mag07 on its own, and it didn't do anything for my skin. So at the end of this cleanse, on day 14 of 21, I'm gonna incorporate the Mag07. What it does is it just flushes your system. Like I've already done a 7-day Mag07 experience, and like you feel like you're getting cleansed. So anyways, in conclusion, my personal journey with perioral dermatitis is I believe that it could be a combination of stress, anxiety, depression. Let's just tack that on there. Parasite, potentially, from India. Mold, potentially, from my house in Portland. Or it could be any of these things individually that's causing it. But what I'm doing got interrupted by a phone call. But what I'm doing with the parasite cleanse is just kind of treating the last thing that I think it could be from. And shoot, if it comes back after all of this, that would be a huge bummer. But then it's just kind of like back to the drawing board. And it's honestly kind of satisfying, because if it weren't for this skin issue, I would have never done this parasite cleanse. And I genuinely think that I have parasites and I've just been lazy about dealing with them. So anyways, I wish you luck on your journey. I know it can be like totally confusing and heartbreaking when you don't know what's going on and that there's not really any studies done on this. There's no information. I'm right there with you. Get a naturopathic dermatologist. Some of them do video consults if you don't have one in your area. Get a naturopathic doctor. Look at your health insurance. See what they will allow. Get rid of all your BS products. Go to like freaking Whole Foods or Natural Grocers or whatever you have in your area and get some like good stuff for your face. There's some apps that will tell you if there's BS in your products. I can try to remember to put all that below. But anyways, leave your experience in the comments. I would love to know what you're going through. If there's anything that I could do from my personal experience, like advice that I could give. I'm not a medical professional, like I said, so please like seek out your own doctor. But I also do believe that there's benefit in sharing these things amongst our community. Yeah, I wish you healing, and I wish you best of luck on your journey, and I hope that this video was helpful. I forgot to say one last thing. My current skincare routine, morning and night. Tamanu Oil first. I put a day moisturizer by Evan Healy on. I do that at night too. I should probably find a night cream. And then I top it off with this Scar Oil from Simplers Botanicals. It's a great product. It has olive oil, calendula, rosehip seed oil, argan oil, Tamanu oil, essential oils of helichrysum, mugwort, sage, and lavender. This product is amazing. Morning and night, and I've been doing that consistently for the last couple months, and my little issue is like, you can just like barely, it's like gone pretty much. So that's what I do, in case you were wondering.